Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and well, happy 2022 and New Year's Eve. And with the new year comes a new host of LEGO sets. And for today, we're going to be going through my personal LEGO buyer's guide for January 1st, 2022, covering every single new set releasing on this day of this month for the first year of 2022. So there is a ton to get into here, a lot of really exciting releases, and I'm here to explain what are the best values, the best deals, the best sets, and overall give my opinions on what should be the LEGO sets to get on January 1st, 2022. And before we get started, do check out the description below. I'll be putting timestamps of every single theme, so if you only are interested in specific LEGO themes, do check out the timestamps below because this is gonna be a long one. Without further ado though, let's just jump right into things.
Alright, so before we get started, I do want to get a few things out of the way. In efforts to make this video easier to consume and to make things a little bit shorter, we will be actually breaking up the sets by theme. So if you do want to only check out specific LEGO themes, I have linked timestamps in the description below going through every single LEGO theme. So say, for example, you only want to see the Ninjago sets or the Creator sets or Monkie Kid sets, you can just go ahead and click the timestamp in the description below and jump immediately to that point. I also will be going through each set fairly briefly, again to cut down on the length of this video because there is a lot to get through, and at the very end of the video I will be dedicating a time to actually share my personal favorites and recommendations for these sets that have the best value as well as just the best sets in general that are coming out on January 1st. So again, if you only are interested in hearing my personal buyer's guide and recommendations, do check out the timestamp in the description below to jump immediately to that section in case you don't have the time or don't want to sit through going through every single set. But so without further ado, let's just jump right in. We're going to kick things off with LEGO Creator. Creator this year for January 1st is having a big celebration. We are getting a set number 10297 Boutique Hotel for $200 to celebrate the anniversary of the LEGO modular buildings line. And as such, we are getting a hotel, much like a hotel being the cafe corner that started the entire modulars line, but this time it is a much different looking building, and it actually has a very interesting footprint, which honestly I am really impressed with and I think really stands out when compared to other modular buildings. If you look at the construction of this hotel and how it comes together, there's a lot of unorthodox building techniques being used for different angles and to make the shaping of the building completely different from anything we've ever seen. And it works as a pretty non-traditional corner style building, so you can kind of have it as the cornerstone of any modular building layout, but still having it retain its own unique identity and having a very unique footprint to it. One thing I really do enjoy is the color progression of this building from the darker tan to the lighter tan, all the way upwards to the sand green. It just feels very realistic, and another thing I like is just how well the palm tree is done. They make expert use of the crown element to actually make up the tree itself. It's the first time I've personally seen that piece being used as a tree trunk. I know for certain it's the first time it's been used in an official set, and I think it works really well and is a great parts usage. Oh, and for the Construction and obscure LEGO fans out there actually is a reference here to LEGO Galador. If you look inside the lobby, there is a bit of a modern art display. You have some paintings on the wall, a transparent rendition of the original Creator Expert logo, and a very unique sticker. This sticker is actually a reference to the LEGO Galador theme, which was released in 2002. It's a very interesting callback to feature in a 2022 set, but as you can see here, it actually references one of the McDonald's Happy Meal toys which celebrated the theme, featuring a very interesting layout for a figure. But of course that is not all for LEGO Creator, because besides this modular building, which is aimed towards the 18+ LEGO category, we also have a few other kind of random Creator sets that are just interspersed here and there. The first standard Creator set that's a 3-in-1 build is set number 31129. This is the Majestic Tiger retailing for $50 and already is one of the most impressive sets of 2022. It features incredible detail and was one of the most striking builds that was seen throughout the entire release wave for this year. It's really interesting seeing the striping pattern of the tiger being fully brick built, which is something that is very, very impressive to get done. You really have to zoom in to understand exactly how these bricks all come together. It's a very clever studs on the side technique to actually get the bricks to work out that way, so it's very impressive. Of course, the set also does include two different alternate models of completely different creatures as well, although really the main focus is on the tiger itself. And thanks to Brickheadz, which did a review on the Majestic Tiger already, you can actually see that this is fully detailed down to very accurate anatomical detailing. Moving onwards, we have another set. This is set number 40518, the high-speed train retailing for $20 US. It's sort of a promotional set that's probably made to just be a direct-to-consumer set or only being sold at standard retail LEGO stores. It's a bit of an odd scale because it's not quite microfigure scale and it's not quite minifigure scale either. It's really just intended to be a small model of a train, but honestly, I think this is probably one of the best small-scale models of trains they've done as a LEGO set. It's a pretty strange direction to be taking, but I don't necessarily have any complaints, and the $20 price tag definitely makes sense for a model of this size. Moving onwards, we have set number 40524 Sunflowers, retailing for $13 US. This is continuing in the expansions to the LEGO Botanical Collection line, which was launched back this year with the flower bouquet, and we actually got some smaller flowers as well in the same vein for LEGO Creator. We got some roses and tulips earlier this year, and for next year we are getting a sunflower set, which makes expert use of the LEGO paddle oar pieces to actually form the petals of the sunflowers themselves, which I think is very convincing. $13 for this set does feel very fair to me. It's priced very comparatively compared to the other LEGO Flower Botanical Collection sets, and this will definitely be great to enhance any existing LEGO flower displays. Beyond that, there are just two other promotional sets which, strangely, actually have been removed from LEGO's shop at home at the time of this recording. It is very unclear as to why exactly they have been removed. LEGO, at the time of this recording, has not made any official statement as to whether or not they have been removed, but seeing as 2022, for whatever reason, is fraught with a lot of sets being cancelled or having some major design flaws. In fact, later in this video, we are going to address this very issue with several sets that were supposed to be released actually being delayed and canceled due to major design flaws. Who knows if this is actually something that happened to these sets as well, although LEGO has yet to comment on this issue. That being said, they were revealed previously, so I figured might as well mention them in this video just in case they are just delayed or just were removed for whatever reason and will be coming back up on January 1st. We have set number 40519 New York postcard, as well as set number 40520 Beijing postcard, both retailing for $15, featuring kind of a small-scale diorama, very similar to the LEGO Architecture Skyline sets, except these ones are significantly scaled down. Personally, I'm a pretty big fan of the way these all come together. A lot of the decals on the buildings themselves do appear to be stickers, but I am pretty pleased in general with the way they're built. I really like the idea of having some sort of a buildable postcard to celebrate different landmarks for LEGO. They have done similar things for different locations with magnet sets that were released earlier this year and last year, but this seems to be a slightly new direction for the location postcard style sets, taking it into a more detailed building direction and actually having some very interesting building techniques being used to have the layering on the backs of the buildings. Again, though, we are not really sure what exactly is going on with these models. We don't know why they've been removed from Shop at Home, so definitely keep on refreshing the LEGO shop page. But with that, we can now move on to our next LEGO theme. This is one of the themes that a lot of people are very excited about. Of course, this is LEGO Ninjago. So for LEGO Ninjago, in case you haven't seen my previous videos, they are doing a new direction for the first half of the year. Instead of having a TV show component tying in with the sets, there will not actually be any new season or storyline for the television show this year in 2022 for the first half of the year. Instead, they are keeping it for the second half of the year to have a major wave concluding this era of Ninjago, and for the first half of the year, they're doing kind of a somewhat filler wave, but a wave that's intended to draw in new fans, as well as represent what is the core of Ninjago. While there will be some non-canon or semi-canon shorts associated with these builds, these are not officially canon. The villains in them are intended to be just generic snake villains because, again, there is no TV show to support any new villains. These lines are officially called Ninjago Evo or Evolution, aka the Ninjago core theme, which you can see right here from the branding. There's just a lot of basically what you would expect from standard Ninjago sets: mechs, dragons, and a temple. And so let's just start off with the first set here, set number 71757. This is a 4+ set, Lloyd's Ninja Mech. It's very similar to the previous 4+ mech we got earlier this year in the form of Jay's Lightning Mech, and you can see it just comes with a standard minifigure of Lloyd and a Serpentine villain, as well as a mech that really is not necessarily anything that's too interesting given that it is a 4+ set. However, the most interesting thing about this is that it does debut some new elements which we previously covered in the video where the LEGO designer in charge of this wave explained the intent behind the wave, launching a brand new construction action figure building system for LEGO, the SCCBS system, aka System Character and Creature Building System, which you'll be seeing in the next set coming up right now. And so the next set is set number 71761. This is Zane's Power Up Mech Evo, and this is probably the best example of what exactly the SCCBS system is. It essentially is taking the construction template, which was introduced for stuff like Hero Factory and Bionicle, and bringing it into the system realm, which officially probably means that unfortunately stuff like CCBS and standard Bionicle builds is fully discontinued and not something we'll ever see from LEGO again, because they are going in this new direction to blend system with their construction offerings. This mech right here is basically the epitome of what a 6+ mech will be going forward. It has no knees or elbow joints, which is specifically a guideline from LEGO. Any set that is 6+ needs to be able to stand up on its own without kids having to move around the legs, and as such they cannot have knee or elbow joints. That being said, I do actually kind of like the color scheme of this build. For $10, it does seem very fair, very comparably priced compared to the Marvel mechs, which are 7+, so those ones are actually allowed to have knee joints, and I think in size it definitely works very well as a mech. This does feature Zane. Unfortunately, without shoulder armor, they do tend to kind of skimp on the armor and extra add-on pieces for the minifigures in these smaller $10 sets, but it does include Zane and a Serpentine to battle with, and you can see that's basically all there is to this set. Next up, moving forwards, we have set number 71760. This is Jay's Thunder Dragon Evo, retailing for $20 US, and this is again another set in the Evo line, which is generally based on play featured on building up a set and actually adding on components to it to upgrade it. As you can see here, you can go from a quote-unquote companion to a lightning speed build. Essentially, the companion is just the dragon without wings, without the tail, and without the saddle, so kind of just the base dragon, and then of course, onto the second iteration of it, you can add on the wings, a spikier tail, and the flag banner on the top. The dragon itself is very, very juniorized. I personally am not the biggest fan of how this dragon came out, although I do totally understand that this is definitely not aimed towards my personal age range. It being a 6+ set means that it has to be really, really simplified, which you can see right here, and thankfully this does include a fully armored up Jay as well as a Serpentine opponent as well, so thankfully they were not skimping out on the details for the minifigures this time. This is not the last of the Dragon Evo sets that you're going to be seeing on this list, because coming up right next is set number 71762, Kai's Fire Dragon Evo, which has a slightly higher price point of $30 US, and as such has slightly larger wings and a bit of a beefier build. As opposed to the J Dragon, which I felt was a little bit lacking in detail, this one I actually am pretty happy with. For a $30 dragon, it does definitely look and feel like a pretty formidable sized dragon, at least for the $30 price point. And thanks to the Evo lineup, we actually do have 3 different iterations for this creature, from companion to flight ready to battle ready. One thing I really am impressed with is how modular the wings actually are. You actually have the option to stack wings on top of each other to make larger and larger builds, which honestly I feel is something that could fit right in with a construction buildable figure, much like the Legends of Chima buildable figures, which had very similar wings when they first came out as well. The minifigure selection features a fully armored up Kai, as well as 2 different Serpentine opponents for him to fight. Again, reusing the classic Serpentine mold we've been seeing since 2019, but again, since these are essentially supposed to just be generic villains, it does make sense to me to use them. Moving on, we have our next set, which is actually supposed to be somewhat of a remake or revamp of the Lloyd's Ninja Nightcrawler from 2018 from the Sons of Garmadon line. Unfortunately, however, this one is scaled down and the age range has been decreased. This time we are getting set number 71763, Lloyd's Race Car Evo, for $30 US. Now this one is a bit of a hit or miss to me personally. I was a big fan of the original set and how it had a very cool action feature to have the stud shooters actually move upwards from the model, and unfortunately I do feel like the Evo gimmick for upgrading this set actually ended up being detrimental to the set in the process. As you can see here, there are 3 stages of the set: cruising, accelerating, and also accelerating, which I presume is just a typo on the box and hopefully will be something that will be fixed, because it's very strange to have just the same name for 3 different stages. The most egregious thing, however, to me is that for the third stage, you add on the large spoiler in the back, which truly makes the set feel completely out of proportion. It really does feel like something that is really just tacked on, and I'm really not a big fan of how large and clunky that back spoiler is. I honestly probably would have been happier leaving it in the Mode 2 form, which leaves out the massive spoiler because at least there it feels a little bit more aerodynamic. But in this case, the spoiler is very large and clunky, and I think definitely takes away from the final appearance of the vehicle itself. Although, thankfully, again, this is LEGO, and it's definitely something that you can just modify yourself if you actually want to change it around as you see fit. The set comes with a fully outfitted Lloyd figure as well as 2 Serpentine, and one thing I do want to mention is that I actually am a big fan of the fact that LEGO, for the most part, is including hair pieces for all the Ninja in the EVO sets. This is so you can actually upgrade the figures themselves, but I actually think it's a really nice inclusion to have the minifigures have the option to be displayed with the hood off or the hairpiece on. It's something that they have done fairly infrequently in the past, and I do hope it's something they continue in the future because it's really nice to have the hairpiece be included, especially because they are using the special dual molded hairpiece with headband pieces, which I think just accentuate the look and feel of the figures significantly. Moving on from these though, we have a larger set number 71766. This is Lloyd's Legendary Dragon. And thankfully, this is not an EVO set. It retails for $70 US, and I am actually a big fan of how this turned out. It has a very bulky and large design for a dragon build, really like how the rounded shaping of the muscles on the front feel like it's a very organic build, and the dark blue and green color scheme is something we haven't really seen before, but something I think works out really well. I am a big fan of the way the wings are done as well. The fabric element looks really good on the dragon itself, and it does actually seem like this has some sort of a play feature. Pushing down on the wings or moving something on the button allows the wings to flap back and forth horizontally, which is really great, and I'm very happy to actually see that being included as an action feature on some sort of build like this. The set features 4 minifigures, Lloyd, Nia, and 2 Serpentine, which definitely fit well for the set itself, and it actually does feature some brand new ball joint elements as well, which are very interesting, which I do want to take a closer look at, especially when it comes to building construction mocks. Moving onwards, we can now take a look at our next set here. This is a pretty experimental set. It is set number 71765, the Ninja Ultra Combo Mech, retailing for $90 US. This is pretty much a perfect Power Rangers style mech, which features 4 different vehicles for the Ninja, Kai, J, Cole, and Zane, and actually being able to combine them to one larger mech, which is something I think is really cool, and not necessarily something LEGO has done in any mech in the past, unless you count Voltron, which was more of a display piece rather than something made for play. This is really one of the only mechs that they've made like this that is fully made for play, and I think it actually does look pretty cool for the final product. Sure, some vehicles are better than others. I think the Zane vehicle is probably one of the weaker ones, as well as the J one. Kai and Cole's vehicle look fine to me though, but of course the main attraction of the build is being able to combine everything into a larger mech, which is just a really cool concept in general. The set includes the 4 original Ninja, Kai, Zane, Cole, and J, as well as 2 Serpentine and a Woobot, which makes a reappearance from the Seabound line. Moving on from this set though, we have set number 71767, Ninja Dojo Temple, retailing for $100 US. And I am a pretty big fan of this set, for a number of reasons. First of all, it's been a while since we got a pretty decent Ninjago temple build. We've gotten a few in the past, but never one that's really traditional like this, unless you count the Monastery from 2019, and this is done really well. I love the dark green roof and the way the roller coaster piece is actually used as a bridge going into some nature elements, and of course, the minifigure selection for the set is one of the best. We get a new and improved Sensei Wu minifigure, as well as Lloyd, Kai, Cole, Nia, a brand new Pixel, which is something fans have been asking for many years. The last Pixel we got was actually in the 2018 wave of Ninjago, so it's been several years since we've actually gotten her, and given that she's a main character in the series, it makes total sense to have her be included in this set. It does also include 2 Serpentine opponents, but let's face it, really the big draw of this set is having the new Pixel minifigure, at least where minifigs are concerned. It does actually feature a bit of a dojo area as well, plus a bit of a miniature Samurai X cave featuring some references to older LEGO Ninjago stuff, which is really nice to see, as well as a mech for Kai in the SCCBS style. Overall, I think this is just a very nicely done playset for $100 US and something I'm a pretty big fan of, and I hope that LEGO will continue to do stuff like this in the future. And finally, moving onwards to our last Ninjago set, we have set number 71776, Jay and Nia's Race Car Evo, which retails for $50 US. This one is a bit of an interesting one, and something that was not everyone's favorite set when it was first released, but honestly, this set has kind of grown on me a little bit. The set features a race car for Jay, which I think is a lot better than the Lloyd race car in my opinion, as well as a villain helicopter, which is one of the only villain vehicles of the entire wave. I think the set provides a lot of good opportunities for conflict and play. While the front bumper is really large, way larger than it needs to be in my opinion, I'm actually pretty happy with the overall build. $50 does seem like a little bit much. I would have been really happy if it was $40, but I can kind of see it, and definitely if it is on sale or ever gets on sale, I would recommend picking it up because it actually is a pretty decent sized car for Jay. The only other thing is that we literally just got a car for Jay for Seabound, so this does feel a little bit repetitive, but I can honestly excuse it because it is a very different build and style than the previous car that we just got. But with that, we have wrapped up all of the LEGO Ninjago sets coming out in 2022, a fairly controversial wave. I know a lot of people were not big fans of the wave when it first was released, but honestly, after the LEGO designer actually took to Twitter to explain the logic and thinking behind this wave, I actually started liking it a lot more for what it is. Just a simple introductory wave for new fans of Ninjago while they prepare for a blockbuster wave for the summer to celebrate one of the most important Ninjago seasons yet, to celebrate the conclusion of this era of Ninjago. So I certainly am very excited for Ninjago's summer wave, probably a lot more than I am for this wave, but I certainly will still be picking up all the sets as usual and giving you my thoughts as I build them. But then now we can move on to the next theme. For 2022, we are starting off the year with one of the classic LEGO Collectible Minifigure series just in the standard line. Series 22 is set number 71032, retailing as usual for $5 US. To quickly go through each of the minifigures of the series, we have a robot repair tech featuring a recolor and reprint of the original welder's helmet. We also have a chili costume fan, continuing with the food and animal related costumes with the collectible minifigures. We have a troubadour, which is very interesting for LEGO Castle fans in particular, especially because his printed coins actually reflect the original castle crown logo from the very first LEGO Yellow Castle. Also in this somewhat medieval and fantasy theme, we have a Snow Guardian featuring a recolor of the Husky, as well as a brand new hat with fur detailing. This looks really good and I'm very excited to get this figure in particular. And we also have a horse and groom. What's notable about this is that this is the first appearance of a horse foal since the LEGO Paradisa line, all the way back in the 1980s and 1990s. We have not seen a baby horse since then, and it's really nice to get this, which looks absolutely fantastic. I really hope they actually start to include this in standard mainline LEGO sets in different colors because it's just a very charming mold. Moving onwards, we have a figure skating champion, which is actually a gender swap version of the figure skating champion from the LEGO Series 4 collectible minifigure line, which is quite an old callback. Really interesting to see that being brought back for this line, although unfortunately the legs not having any print on them does feel a little bit incomplete to me. Next up, we have a Knight Protector, also alongside the Fantasy line, featuring transparent purple swords and shields, which looks really good, although I do feel they probably could have added on maybe a little bit more armor pieces on these sides or shoulders, but I think it's a good figure overall with dual molded arms and printing on the sides of the arms and legs. Moving onwards, we have a Forest Elf, which is also kind of in this fantasy lineup, which features a very nice leafy cape and an acorn-shaped hat. We next have a Birdwatcher featuring a toucan for the first time in LEGO minifigure animal form, as well as a raccoon costume fan, which again is continuing with these costume-based series. For the final two, we have a Space Creature, which is a pretty controversial figure. It features the classic space torso in purple, which is something fans have been wanting for a long time, but unfortunately does not include purple air tanks, which do not exist whatsoever, so you can't actually make a purple classic spaceman with just this figure. It also does not include the standard classic space helmet because it was doing something a little bit different with the alien printing, which means that you probably have to kind of source the helmets on your own. LEGO did produce one purple helmet back in the Knight's Kingdom line, and ever since this figure was announced, the price for that helmet has absolutely skyrocketed. People have been buying that helmet in bulk. It's honestly kind of nuts how expensive the traditional LEGO helmet piece in purple got ever since this figure was revealed, and I really hope that they will eventually do a standard classic purple spaceman down the line, because this just feels like going kind of halfway. For the final figure, we have a wheelchair racer, which is a really great figure featuring a brand new mold for a racing wheelchair with some dual molded arms with printing on the sides of the arms as well. And with that, we have taken a look at all 12 of the Series 22 LEGO Collectible Minifigures. And with Collectible Minifigures out of the way, we should now move on to our next LEGO theme. Next up is LEGO Architecture, which surprisingly is only getting one new set for January 1st, 2022. This is set number 21057 Singapore, retailing for $60. It is continuing in the Architecture Skyline series, and to be honest, I think this is pretty mixed. The Marina Bay Sands does feel a little bit simplistic compared to the refinery that we've actually seen for other Architecture Skyline sets. We did actually get a dedicated architecture set for this building years ago, which did provide a lot more detail because obviously it was a lot bigger than this, although it does the job alright. I think the buildings to the right of the Marina Bay Sands do look good, and I love the recolor of the Technic wheel spokes hub in pink to represent the botanical gardens. All in all, this is just another entry in the Skyline line of architecture sets. I personally am a pretty big fan of collecting all these, so I definitely will be picking this up, although I do think they've done better Skylines in the past. And moving onwards to our next theme, we have LEGO Minecraft. So Minecraft is actually launching quite a few new sets, 6 sets in total for January 1st, 2022. First up, we have set number 21177, the Creeper Ambush, featuring a brand new color for the Creeper from one of the newer updates to Minecraft, but of course it just has the standard Steve minifigure as well. Really, the main draw of the set is getting that new color of Creeper, which is a very interesting one. I am not necessarily caught up 100% on Minecraft gaming updates and lore, so I do not necessarily know the origin of this particular Creeper, but it is cool to see it in a completely different color scheme. Other than that though, it's basically just a standard build for a landscape scenery terrain area, so nothing too much else to say about this. Moving onwards, we have set number 21178, the Fox Lodge. Personally, I think this is a really cute LEGO set. It's basically just a scaled up Minecraft fox all curled up looking really cute, so I actually do really like the way this looks, and of course it does include a brand new skin for a Minecraft character in a fox outfit, as well as one of the drowned zombies, plus foxes that are just the normal variant as well as the Arctic variant. Inside the hut, you have very, very basic detailing because, again, it is just a $20 set. It essentially is just a large facade, but it does look really good from the front, which really is all that matters for a build like this. Moving onwards, we have set number 21179, also retailing for $20. This is the Mushroom House, featuring for the first time in a while one of the Mushroom figures, but unfortunately just including the standard Alex minifigure as well as a skeleton with an enchanted helmet, which we've seen a lot of times before. The Mushroom House itself is a nice and charming little build. I definitely prefer the Fox Lodge as something that definitely is just a little bit cuter for me, although this one does make a lot of sense in-game, and it's something that players could build in real life in the game itself. So I do actually understand the point behind the set. It again is just a facade, the back of it is fully open, but I do understand it because again this is only $20, and for $20 I think it's pretty good value. Moving onwards, we have set number 21180, the Guardian Battle. The set features some of the Guardians for the first time in a while. The last time we saw them, and actually the only time we saw them, was in the dedicated Ocean Monument set, which now is very rare to get on the aftermarket because it had a limited run and was such a large build. So it's really nice to be able to get these figures in a $25 set. We also get one of the new glow squids, which is featured in one of the newer updates, as well as the axolotl creatures, which is a fantastic new mold for LEGO Minecraft. All in all, I'm very, very happy with this. It includes a brand new diver's outfit skin, and I think this is just a really good way to get very desirable character builds that we haven't seen for quite a while. Moving onwards, we have set number 21181, the Rabbit Ranch, for $30 featuring a scaled up build of the rabbit, as well as a brand new skin for a character, a standard traditional zombie, and of course you have to include 2 different kinds of rabbits, one in black and one in the dark tan. This one is kind of in the same vein as some of the other builds we've gotten from LEGO Minecraft in the past, like the chicken coop featuring large scaled up animals, and I think it works fairly well. The cave bit is very standard compared to other Minecraft caves we've gotten. I feel like they probably could have made this just a $20 set and left out the cave and just featured the rabbit build itself, but I think for $30 it's not too bad. And that flower build is really good. Really a big fan of how that one turned out. And finally, moving onwards, we have set number 21183, the Training Grounds, retailing for $70 US. This set features a minifigure that won a fan vote that LEGO held on Facebook a while back earlier this year to choose a minifigure for inclusion in one of next year's sets, and the minifigure was the Ninja minifigure, to the surprise of basically no one because ninjas are very popular with LEGO due to Ninjago. It does include a purple ninja figure as well, although I do feel like this was kind of a missed opportunity. You see, just last year we got a Kai Ninja Minecraft minifigure that was literally just Kai replicated in a Minecraft form, and I thought that if they were doing some sort of a Training Grounds in Minecraft, it could have been a cool way to do another Ninjago and Minecraft crossover, but unfortunately these are kind of just generic ninja skins with flesh tones instead of the standard traditional LEGO yellow. So these do not represent any characters from Ninjago, they're just kind of doing their own thing. That being said, the build is very nice. It's really interesting seeing kind of an oriental structure in Minecraft because obviously this is not one of the standard generated sculptures, it's something that's completely new, but it is a fairly decent build. 70 though feels like a little bit too much. I could definitely go for 50, 60 is already pushing it, but 70 for this, I would honestly recommend waiting for a discount because I just don't feel like it's really worth the $70 price tag. But with that, we have summed up the LEGO Minecraft wave, and we can now move on to our next theme, LEGO Brickheadz. So kicking things off, we have another winner of a fan poll. For the 150th Brickheadz, fans got to choose the character and franchise that it was from, and the winning character from the Star Wars brand, to almost nobody's surprise, was Ahsoka Tano. I'm actually a pretty big fan of how this one is designed. Instead of just using a standard 1x4 brick with a printed tile for the front of the chest there, they actually decided to brick build the torso, which is something we rarely see in official LEGO Brickheadz. I know a lot of people who make Brickheadz mocks really love to make custom torsos that are really intricate, and this is one of the first times that LEGO has actually done it themselves, so I'm actually a big fan of how that works. A lot of really interesting and surprisingly difficult building techniques going into that, as well as, of course, the head and montrails itself look really good for this figure. Again, another thing I really like about Brickheadz is the price. Despite being around for many years, they are still only $10 for each character, which I think is a fantastic deal, especially considering some of the other stuff like the Brick Sketches line, which ends up being a lot more expensive for what they are. Moving onwards though, we have another seasonal Brickhead celebrating Lunar New Year. This is the Lion Dance guy for $10, featuring a very elaborate headdress in the same vein as the Lion Dance minifigures we actually got a while back last year for the Lunar New Year Festival celebration sets. Alongside the LEGO Brickhead Pets line, we have set number 40543 St. Bernard for $15 featuring a large-scale dog and a small one for $5 and $10 combined for $15, and we also have a French Bulldog set 40544 for $15, also featuring the pets rendered in the Brickheadz form. Lastly, there was also set number 40552 Buzz Lightyear. Now I will have to preface this by saying that this may not be released on January 1st for all regions. I am not 100% sure because it was appearing on some LEGO Shop at Home sites, however not all of them, and the back of the box also advertises a 2-pack with Woody and Bo Peep, which you can see right here, which we do not actually have official images for already. So if I had to guess, I would bet this is going to be pushed to a February or even March release because it's still is not on the standard US LEGO Shop at Home page for the January 1st releases, and at this point I would be surprised if it's still released on time. So maybe this got delayed, or maybe images just got released early, who knows, but this is just yet another of the Brickheadz. Very notable for those printed red and white stripes on the wings there, which is a very useful piece for mocking. But with that, we have summed up the LEGO Brickheadz lineup, and it's time to move on to our next theme, LEGO Star Wars. So for LEGO Star Wars, there's actually a very interesting kind of a miniature wave for January 1st. Instead of having a larger wave like they do in previous years, they tended to focus this wave on different iterations of battle packs with only one standard retail LEGO Star Wars set, and not even a very big one at that. So a very strange direction for the first half of the year here. Not really sure why they decided to do this, but I guess in the sense they are sort of taking a break from LEGO Star Wars, and I don't necessarily mind that. It's just interesting to see such small sets being released for the first half of the year. First off, we have set number 40557. This is a 3-pack of minifigures, Defensive Hoth for $15, which does appear to be the new direction LEGO is taking with the battle packs. They are releasing larger battle packs for $20 with 4 figures, and they're releasing smaller battle packs for $15 with 3 figures. This is a little unfortunate, because in the past, as you know, battle packs used to be $15. I mean, they used to be $12 and $10 and $8 for 5 and 4 figures, but of course you have to factor in inflation. But just last year we did get battle packs for $15 with 4 figures. And now for $15 you're only getting 3 figures and just maybe slightly larger builds, but really nothing necessarily too much bigger. I am, however, happy we are getting something for $15 rather than nothing. It is good to still have something at the price point, and we are actually getting a Clone Trooper one as well for set number 40558. This is the Clone Trooper Command Station for $15, which includes the once exclusive Clone Trooper Commando from the Republic Gunship Ultimate Collector Series set, so really nice to see that figure here, as well as a brand new printing for the Phase 1 Clone Troopers from Star Wars Episode 2, which I'm sure will be a big hit among fans. I can imagine people buying a ton of these just to build up their Phase 1 Clone Trooper army. I certainly will have to get a few of these myself. Moving onwards, we have set number 75320, the Snow Trooper Battle Pack, retailing for $20 US. Again, this is another big price increase for the battle packs from $15 to $20, although thankfully it does include basically the minifigures that you want. No officers, 3 Snow Troopers, and 1 Scout Snow Trooper. So I think that definitely makes sense for this build. The Icy Terrain build is kind of just a throwaway build using the extra budget of the set for more parts, but I do appreciate the speeder as well as the cannon, which I think works well. Oh, and did I mention, these stud shooters that plagued battle packs are now gone, and they are using realistic weaponry, which is very, very, very nice. I cannot stress how happy I am for that change to be made. There is a time and place for stud shooters, and battle packs ain't it, so I'm very happy to see that. And then moving on, we have another Microfighter set. Set number 75321 is the Razor Crest Microfighter for $10, featuring just the standard Mandalorian Season 2 minifigure with the printing on the sides of the arms, which looks really good. I'm a fan of how this one turned out, but again, it's just kind of a basic Microfighter, so nothing too interesting to say there. And our final Star Wars set of the year, surprisingly for the first half of the year at least, for January 1st, is the Hoth ATST, retailing for $50 US, set number 75322. This again is a big surprise to get this as our only kind of standard Star Wars set for the first half of the year, because again in the past we've gotten much larger waves. This is a slightly different ATST build than we're used to, particularly because it is meant to represent the Hoth version of the ATST, which had slightly different proportions. So if the proportions look a little bit wonky to you, it's actually on purpose. But with that, nothing else too much I can say about this set, honestly. We have summed up the entire Star Wars January 1st, 2022 wave, a much smaller wave than we're used to. Don't really know why, but it definitely is nice to take a break from Star Wars, and who knows, maybe they're planning something big for the fall. And with that, we can move on to our next theme, LEGO Technic. For 2022, LEGO Technic is actually introducing some interesting new gimmicks, and we'll be getting to those in a second. But first of all, we have just kind of a small impulse buy set, set number 42132 Motorcycle for $13 US. This kind of reminds me of some of the traditional small-scale LEGO Technic sets of the past, so I don't really have any complaints, although it is definitely the simplest Technic set we're going to be seeing on this list. I don't really have much else to say about it, so we can now move on. The much more interesting sets come in the $20 Monster Jam license sets. Set number 42134 is the Monster Jam Megalodon, and I am a big fan of the set. I do understand that it's licensed, so LEGO was basing this off of something that actually does exist, but this really reminds me of the crazy, wacky LEGO Technic stuff they used to put out years and years ago in the 2000s when Technic was being very experimental. I just really like the way this looks. It's such a unique build, and we're also getting a ton of recolors in both Dark Azure and a very special recolor of the LEGO Technic stud to Technic pin converter piece in red, which is appearing in red for the first time, which is very exciting because it's very rare that we actually get recolors of these standard Technic pins. All in all, I think this is one of the most creative Technic sets of the year. I am really impressed with how it turned out, and I definitely will be picking this up day one. Also in the Monster Jam line, we have set number 42135, Monster Jam El Toro Loco, which is meant to represent a charging bull. This one is a little bit less interesting and visually appealing than the previous one because I do understand the animal influence, but I think the shark car just looks a little bit more interesting than this personally, although I think it is still a fun build and one that definitely works well to battle against the other car. Much like many of the other Technic sets, these two cars also have alternate builds, which I think is really nice because you can rebuild them into completely different vehicles. However, moving onwards, we have two sets in the $50 price range where LEGO Technic is actually introducing a brand new gimmick. Usually, pullback functions are generally reserved for just the smaller play scale style sets. But this time, LEGO Technic is trying to incorporate a pullback motor function into actual realistic car-sized builds. First of all, we have set number 42137, Formula E Porsche 99X Electric, retailing for $50. You can see it is a fairly realistic car build similar to the other $50 Technic cars, but it also includes the pullback function, which is really cool. You can actually reconfigure the build itself to have a pullback feature, and they also have a bit of an AR experience app. These never work well for LEGO. Brick Fanatics actually did a review of the app itself. They got early access to it, and as far as anyone can tell, the app just does not work and is really bad. So again, this kind of continues in LEGO's frame of trying to force AR stuff or digital experiences and digital play into their LEGO builds when the technology just simply isn't quite there yet, at least for LEGO's developers. I do think there's a lot of potential for digital play with LEGO. This, if it just doesn't work, then I probably would prefer them just to not have it. But I appreciate the effort. LEGO should keep trying to innovate and create new ways for play. Moving onwards, also for $50 US, this is in a striking lime color scheme, which I think does look really good. The car itself is very realistic. I'm a big fan of how this one looks, and again, this does have the pullback motor feature, which does seem to be a pretty interesting feature to include, especially for a larger scale display model set like this. However, that is not all for LEGO Technic, because retailing for $230, we have our flagship Technic set, the largest Technic motorcycle they've ever made, set number 42130, BMW M1000RR, and this is really cool looking. Is it worth $230? Maybe, maybe not. But you cannot deny that this is simply one of the most interesting and striking motorcycles they have ever made for LEGO Technic, and I am a big fan of how this looks in general. You can see that this is along the 18 plus LEGO line, coming with nearly 2,000 pieces, actually exactly 1,920, so there's a lot of pieces packed into this, and it really shows by the incredible amount of detail that you can see in this particular build. I'm a big fan of how this one turned out. I cannot wait to get this and build it myself, and it's easily one of my most anticipated Technic sets of the year, let alone just sets in general. This just looks really cool to me, a lot of really interesting angles, looks to be a very complex build, and I cannot wait to actually build this myself. But with that, we have summed up the entire LEGO Technic theme for January 1st, 2022, 6 sets, and now it's time to move on to our next theme. And for a completely different direction, we have LEGO Friends. Now, before you move on from this theme, because I know not a lot of AFOLs are particularly interested in LEGO Friends, at least from what I've experienced, Friends is celebrating the anniversary of the theme this year. And because of that, there's actually quite a few really nice sets, and I think some sets that honestly are better than many of the city sets we've gotten in previous years. And we'll be getting to those in just a second, but since we're going in somewhat of an order in terms of pricing, we'll start off with some of the cheaper ones. Set number 41695 is the Pet Clinic. It is a 4+ set, and there's nothing really too much I can say about it because it is just a 4+ build, but honestly, even for a 4+ build, this does actually include a pretty nice amount of detail that you don't typically see for 4+ stuff. So well done, LEGO Friends, off to a pretty good start already. Moving onwards, we have set number 41697, the Turtle Protection Vehicle. This one is using a brand new color introduced for January 1st, 2022, and we will be talking about that new color later because it is very, very prominent in the city sets and some Monkie Kid sets. It seems to have been produced specifically for LEGO City, so I'll save my thoughts on that color until we get to it. It includes some very cute small turtle molds and really nothing else too much, so now we can move on to the next set. Set number 41707 is the tree planting vehicle, which is an interesting design and concept for a LEGO Friends set. I don't really remember the last time we got a tree planting vehicle for LEGO in general. I think Technic is actually having one in March as well, although this one just doesn't really appeal to me too much. I do like the little greenhouse though. That honestly is more interesting to me than the vehicle itself. And then we can start to move on to the more interesting stuff. Set number 41700 is Beach Glamping, retailing for $40 US. It's a pretty basic build, but it does include a nice fabric element. And next we can move on to set number 41701. This is the Street Food Market, retailing for $50 US. I actually am a pretty big fan of this set. I actually like the different food stalls celebrating international cuisine, from Oriental styled food to Mexican food, as well as, I guess, just carrots or nature styled food. This just has something for everyone. And I actually like the concept of a street food market as a LEGO set, and I wish that LEGO would do this for other themes, like maybe LEGO City could do something like this for different cuisines as well. But then we can get on to the really good stuff. Moving onwards, we have set number 41702, the Canal Houseboat, and this is such a charming set. Retailing for $80, I think is maybe a little bit steep for what you get, but I really do love the idea of a houseboat. This honestly just reminds me of stuff that I could see when walking along, say, the streets of Amsterdam. You would see boats like this with people living inside, and we don't really get boats like this often from LEGO, so I am a big fan of this, and I definitely will be picking it up. I don't normally buy LEGO Friends sets, but this one will be a big exception because this is just such a charming boat build. I really like the detailing on the top as well. It does look like the interior is fully furnished with a lot of details as well, and all in all, this is just a pretty nice build in general. Moving onwards, to celebrate the anniversary of LEGO Friends, 10 years of LEGO Friends, we are getting a massive $80 Friendship Treehouse set number 41703, and this is probably the best treehouse that LEGO has ever done. They've done stuff for elves before, which were also very interesting. I did get all the LEGO Elves treehouses, which were very nice to build, but this one is probably one of the largest ones and most detailed ones they've ever done, which I am actually a pretty big fan of. I just like how it all comes together. It's almost like a mini Ninjago city, but for friends. But speaking of a mini Ninjago city for friends, set number 41704, retailing for $150, is this absolutely fantastic build for the main street building. This honestly completely outshines pretty much any LEGO City set in recent memory. This is one of the best realistic styled LEGO building sets that we've gotten in a long time. Sure, the pastel colors may be a little off-putting, but this honestly feels right at home in a LEGO City display, and fits right in with the LEGO creator style of the smaller modular-esque buildings, as well as the Monkie Kid style of buildings they've been doing. I am a big fan of this particular build. I definitely will be purchasing this one because I think it just works very well for a general city layout, and this honestly transcends the LEGO Friends line to being something that actually could work with minifigures as well. Of course, as you look in, all these stores have their own detailings as well as a bit of an elevator to get up to the different floors of the stores. It does include a bit of a superfluous truck. I don't think the truck needed to be there, and the $150 price tag does feel high, but actually relatively fair for what you get. My favorite building here is the corner style building. Instead of just being a rectangular block, this one actually has a lot of different shaping to it, and I love the use of the newer style of slope piece on the top of the roof there in lavender, which does look very realistic to me as a unique architecture style. But with that, we have summed up the LEGO Friends theme. Quite a few new sets releasing for January 1st because again, it is the 10th anniversary of LEGO Friends. And with that, we can now move on to LEGO Marvel Superheroes. And before we get into LEGO Marvel, I do want to make a note of a few sets that are not releasing on January 1st. They were supposed to, but unfortunately, these sets have been delayed or cancelled. Very tragically, these are the $10 LEGO Marvel Mechs, set numbers 76, 202, 203, and 204 for Wolverine, Iron Man, and Black Panther, and they have been delayed specifically because of a major design flaw. You see, these mechs cannot stand up. I have no idea how this got through production. They have been making mechs for the longest time in this style, but for whatever reason they changed the waist connector. Instead of using the dedicated waist connector piece that they have been using for all the $10 Marvel mechs, they decided to change things up and use a completely different connection, which simply is not stable. As you can see, they're plugging in the Nexonite's crossbow bow shooter element into the standard LEGO studs on the side piece right there, which you can see just doesn't have a lot of friction and will not support the weight of the mech. It is honestly crazy to me how this did not get caught in LEGO's very strict review processes. These sets definitely did deserve to be pushed back, and I just really hope that they will eventually be released with the building technique fixed, because I really want those minifigures. As of right now, all 3 figures are exclusive to these sets, and it's the first appearance of Wolverine in years. I know a lot of fans were dying to get Wolverine, and if these sets are just flat out cancelled, well, it's a big shame because these minifigures are really cool. Even the Black Panther figure includes an alternate head and expression, which I think is truly fantastic. So I sure hope these sets are released eventually, and if not, at the very least, I hope that LEGO will include these figures in other sets. But with that, we can move on to sets that are actually going to be released on January 1st, 2022. Set number 76205 is Garganto's Showdown from the new Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie. It includes a new version of Doctor Strange, Wong, as well as America Chavez, who's one of the new superheroes introduced in the film, as well as a large-scale build of Gargantos, who apparently will be encountered early on in the film as kind of a mini-boss they need to defeat to get to the main threat. This is actually a pretty fun build of a large tentacled monster. Unfortunately, I do hope that this set also will not be delayed, because Brickheadz very recently uncovered a major design flaw in this set, which actually makes it such that pieces have a significant amount of stress placed on them. I don't know how that also did not get caught, but again, there it is. I will be very sad if this set also gets delayed, because at that point you won't have really any Marvel sets to be released on January 1st. Moving onwards, we have somewhat of a controversial set number 76206. This is the Iron Man figure, retailing for $40 US. Now, I will be doing a completely dedicated video to this figure when I actually get it and compare it alongside the CCBS Iron Man from 2012, so definitely stay tuned for that video. I will be sharing most of my thoughts there. I will be putting that video out whenever I actually get the set in a few weeks, when January 1st sets all release. Now, just a quick overview of this set. It kind of is the natural evolution of the LEGO Buildable figure system. Instead of doing something completely with CCBS, this is doing something completely with System, introducing some brand new armor molds that fit within the System style of buildable characters. It is a very interesting design to say the least, and I'll be sharing my thoughts again in a later video. But this is definitely one of the sets I am most excited to pick up to see just how well it plays. And then moving on from the standard Marvel sets, we actually have a few 4+ sets dedicated for the Spidey and His Amazing Friends animated show, with the main draw of these sets being the brand new minifigures. First off, we have set number 10781, Spider-Man's Technotrike, featuring a new Green Goblin as well as the Miles Morales Spider-Man, plus a new large-scale net piece to sling over the figures. Moving onwards, we have 10782, Hulk vs. Rhino Showdown for $20 US. This is a brand new mold for the Rhino head figure, and the Hulk figure is brand new as well, plus the Spidey of course, so it is really interesting to see these figures in the slightly more cartoony 4+ style. Moving onwards, we have set number 10783, Spider-Man at Doc Ock's Lab, retailing for $30 US, which features Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, as well as Spider-Man himself, plus the female version of Doc Ock seen in the animated show, and actually can also be seen in the Spider-Verse animated movie. This set introduces a few brand new molds for 2022, featuring the spider leg element on the side of the car, as well as of course using that new Spider-Man net piece. And finally, moving onwards, we have the largest set of this wave, set number 10784, Spider-Man Web Quarters Hangout for $50 US. The most notable figure here is a brand new Miss Marvel figure. I am sure we'll be getting a new MCU version of the figure very soon, but of course for now this one will have to do, and it does look very nice as a figure itself. But with that, obviously there's not too much I can say about these builds. They are, again, of course, 4+ junior style LEGO builds, so they are the most simplified builds you could expect to get out of any LEGO set. And with that, we can now move on from LEGO Marvel into our next LEGO theme, LEGO Dots. And LEGO Dots, in case you aren't aware, is LEGO's somewhat jewelry or fashion line. They actually have a few new releases for this year featuring a very different demographic for LEGO sets. Set number 41942, Into the Deep Bracelets with Charms, retails for $6 and introduces a brand new gimmick for LEGO Dots in the form of charms being added on to the LEGO pieces. Set number 41943 is the Gamer Bracelet with Charms, basically the same thing but styled for gamers and having some different prints for game over tiles, which which I'm sure people will be very eager to use in different LEGO MOCs with computer screens and whatnot. Moving onwards, we have set number 41944 retailing for $15 Candy Kitty bracelet and bag tag, featuring a bag tag as well as a bracelet dual pack. Set number 41945 is the Neon Tiger bracelet and bag tag. I actually kind of like the colors here. I may pick it up for the unique prints itself. And then we have Extra Dots Series 6 retailing for $4 set number 41946 featuring the Charms, which is the gimmick for LEGO Dots this year. I am curious to see how good the LEGO Charms work and how durable they are, because I'm sure that they will be durable with LEGO, but I definitely don't want to be losing any of them either, so I'm curious to see how well that connection is. And finally, last up for LEGO Dots is set number 41948 Cute Banana Pen Holder, featuring a peeled banana pencil holder, which I just think is a pretty nice design overall. But with that, we have summed up all of the LEGO Dot sets, and it's time to now move on to LEGO Monkie Kid. And so, first off for Monkie Kid, we have set number 80030, Monkie Kid's Staff Creations, retailing for $35. This is aimed at the 5+ age range using the SCCBS system introduced for Ninjago, and obviously the builds are probably the worst we've seen in any Monkie Kid set yet, but again, this isn't necessarily like the other Monkie Kid sets, it's really just kind of a build-your-own thing for Monkie Kid, for the younger audience to draw new fans into the theme. And I think that is a commendable effort, because they definitely need new fans and kids in particular to be getting into Monkie Kid, especially because many of the other sets previously were just far too expensive for kids to get into. It also does have a nice little function or gimmick featuring some brand new molds that allow you to easily swap and exchange parts from different jets and mechs and cars. However, moving past that, we can actually get into the more interesting Monkie Kid sets. Set number 80031 is Maze Dragon Car, retailing for $50. And this set is pretty interesting. I actually kind of like the building of the dragon head sculpt and the horse head sculpt on the front. The inclusion of the brand new, very bright highlighter yellow color, which we'll be getting to in LEGO City, does feel a little bit out of place to me personally. I kind of would have preferred it if they did not include it in this build in particular, but I think in general, overall, if you ignore that particular piece, everything else is pretty good. Monkie Kid gets an upgrade where he has arm printing on the sides of his arms as well as his dual molded legs, so looking really good there. It also includes a new May figure in that somewhat ugly highlighter yellow color, but I can kind of look past that, and you can see the rest of the figures include two of Makak's Shadow Monkey Demons. When compared against the other Monkie Kid sets though, this is probably the most traditional set in that it's just a car retailing for $50. I think the price is alright, could have been $40, $45, but $50 is not too bad, and we can probably move on to the next set. Moving onwards, we have a much more interesting build, set number 80032. This is the Changi Mooncake Factory, retailing for $70. And basically, this is kind of just like a LEGO classic space set reimagined in modern styles with a few different bunny and carrot stylings. I really love the classic space LEGO logo, but modified to include a carrot, which I think is a very cute design. The bunny mech is a really charming build. I love the way it comes together, and the Changi minifigure herself is one of the best new figures of the Monkie Kid wave. The moon base as well is a pretty fun build, and I really do like the general design and aesthetic of the set being something completely different compared to what we've typically seen for LEGO Monkie Kid. Moving onwards to stuff that we've sort of seen before, we have set number 80033 Evil Makak's Mech for $80. I do think this is probably one of my least favorite Monkie Kid mechs in general, but only because all of the other Monkie Kid mechs have been so good. This just kind of feels like maybe like a Ninjago mech, which typically are not necessarily as good in quality compared to the Monkie Kid mechs, but I think it's still alright. It introduces a brand new joint piece, which is going to be very useful for LEGO large-scale mech builder fans. I certainly want to get a ton of these pieces myself to play around with, and of course the main build itself is not too bad. I just think the shaping could have been maybe a little bit more improved compared to the other Monkie Kid mechs. In terms of minifigures, it includes the new May, as well as the new Monkie Kid, plus a minifigure version of Sandy, which is very fun to get, as well as the evil Makak himself and one of his minions. Makak himself sports a brand new mold for his head featuring his 3 ears, which is actually really nice to get, given that the previous Makak did not actually feature this detail. And with that, we can move on to one of my favorite Monkie Kid sets of this year. 80034 is Nezza's Fire Ring, retailing for $100. This is such a unique concept for a LEGO set. I love the design of the mono wheel for the actual build. It is such a cool build in general. I'm just a really big fan of the way that very unique design actually worked out, and I think that in general this is one of the most interesting and inspired Monkie Kid builds we've seen from the entire theme. This does have a few somewhat superfluous side builds. Macaque's jet does feel very standard and simple. It honestly could have just belonged to any of the villain factions, which is a little bit disappointing, and the Bone Demon Throne does feel very out of place for this set, but I do really like the Fire Wheel, and that alone is enough to get me to purchase the set immediately because it just looks really, really cool. Again, just such a unique concept for a LEGO set, and the Monkie Kid figure in this set is actually exclusive for now, featuring a fully armored up version of Monkie Kid, which looks really, really good. Love the printing on the sides of the arms, love the detail on the torso, and I cannot wait to add this to my collection. And with that, we can move on to the penultimate Monkie Kid set, set number 80035. This is Monkie Kid's Galactic Explorer. Retailing for $130, it is a full-on spaceship for Monkie Kid. And this is really, really cool. I love it when we get large-scale LEGO spaceship builds from LEGO. I am a big fan of LEGO Classic Space after all, and we haven't gotten dedicated spaceships from original themes in a while, so it's really cool to get a fantastic play model like this. And what's even cooler is that you can actually see the interior is fully detailed. So not only do you have a launch pad for the rocket ship itself and a very nicely detailed rocket, but you actually have space for all the minifigures and a lot of different control pads, even a space to hold the moon rover, which is very, very nice. It includes all the figures in space outfits as well as just some villain figures, plus a bit of a robotic cat as well to round off the assembly. And finally, moving onwards, we have set number 80036, the City of Lanterns, retailing for $150, and this is easily one of my favorite Monkie Kid sets already. It's kind of like a mini Ninjago city, obviously aimed at a slightly lower price range, but capturing the same energy of all sorts of different things thrown together, a true cornucopia and melting pot of different styles of LEGO buildings and architecture. Oh, and it also features a fully working LEGO monorail as well, so that is really awesome to see. Scattered throughout the set are references to classic and modern LEGO themes alike. There's a Hero Factory reference, a Bionicle Bulrock reference, as well as the Three Virtues logo included. We have a reference to the LEGO 90th anniversary, which is this year, so expect to see references to that cropping up in many more sets, and included in the set is actually a full-fledged LEGO store, which has a lot of fun Easter eggs in it. Once I get the set, I'll be doing a full video delving into every single Easter egg, so I won't spoil them all here, but suffice to say, there is a lot. But with that, we have summed up the entirety of the LEGO Monkie Kid theme. Monkie Kid is truly one of, if not the best, original LEGO theme we have gotten in a while, and I really enjoy how it continues to reinvent itself every year with completely new designs for sets that are truly fantastic. But despite having summed up the Monkie Kid sets, there actually is another LEGO seasonal or extended line sets that kind of are very similar to Monkie Kid in the vein that they are celebrating Oriental and Chinese culture, and these are the Lunar New Year sets. Every year since 2019, LEGO has been putting out new Lunar New Year sets, which are some of the best and most intricate LEGO builds that we've pretty much seen ever, and this year is no different. First of all, we have set number 80108, Lunar New Year Traditions, which is a fairly unorthodox build featuring a display for a model that can be displayed either stacked or in a circle, featuring different scenes for Lunar New Year. From the opening of red envelopes to enjoying some street food, this truly is a celebration of all the best things to do during Lunar New Year, and it's really cool to see this as dioramas in all one set. I'm a big fan of how this all comes together. It's a very unorthodox LEGO build, and I especially like the inclusion of the LEGO bag as well that a kid has gotten a gift for the Lunar New Year. However, we can now move on from that to one of the more interesting Lunar New Year sets. Set number 80109 is the Ice Festival, retailing for $120, and this set absolutely blows me away. I am kind of stunned by just how good this set is in general because, as you can see, this has a lot of layers to it. The ice pattern itself is using the opalescent and Saturn color, a brand new color for the piece of the transparent clear windscreen there, making it really do look like realistic ice, and I love the ice formations all around. We've got a new opalescent and satin color for the penguin as an ice sculpture, and all in all, this is one of the most charming LEGO display sets I have ever seen. I am a big fan of the set. It definitely does feel worth $120 because there's a lot of layers to that base plate, and it does also include a brand new mold for the Tiger minifigure outfit to of course celebrate 2022 being the year of the Tiger. Oh, and did I mention, it also includes updated vests for the Ice Planet 2002 sub-theme. We first got our look at these vests in a Ninjago playing card of all things. It seems like originally this was planned for inclusion in the Ninjago City Garden set, but for whatever reason it was not included in the set this year, which is why we saw it in some Ninjago playing card promotional material, but it never actually materialized until this set, and I'm very happy we actually get that torso because it's a fantastic nod to classic LEGO themes. Even the hat that the Ice Planet guy is wearing is orange, in reference to the transparent orange chainsaws. There is nothing to not like about the set. I am a big fan of how it all comes together, and definitely would recommend this as one of the best sets of January 2022. But with that, there's still 3 more themes to go, so let's now move on to our next sub-theme. This is the LEGO Disney Princesses line, featuring kind of a brand new gimmick that is a very strange one. Set number 43198 is Anna's Castle Courtyard from the Frozen movie line for $10 US, and it features a brand new gimmick. Using opalescent and satin coloring, you can remove the dress from the mini dolls, essentially cutting off their legs and store the mini dolls in some sort of a container. It certainly is an unorthodox gimmick. It feels kind of odd to actually be literally removing the legs from the minifigures and putting them inside the dress itself. Kind of an odd gimmick, but I guess it kind of works, and you can easily store your figures there. Maybe you can spin them like tops as well, or imagine they're encased in crystal or something, which you can see on the front of the box. They have a similar set number 43199, Elsa's Castle Courtyard, featuring the same exact gimmick with the dress element in a different opalescent and satin color, which I think this one probably appeals to me a little bit more because I do really like the ice sculpture formations of this build, but in general it is a strange gimmick overall. We're getting 3 new ones as well in set number 43203, Aurora, Merida, and Tiana's Enchanted Creations, which retails for $70 US, which, ooh man, that is a very high price tag for what you get. I would be probably fine with this if it was $50 US, but $70, that's probably a little bit too much for me personally. It does include a bracelet in the LEGO Dots lineup, which is the first time we're actually seeing the LEGO Dots style bracelet outside of the Dots theme, which is interesting to get. I probably will want to get the dress elements from the Bricks and Pieces service because I think they're really cool pieces to have in general, but honestly, $70 US for the builds that you get just doesn't seem worth it to me personally. Even though they do all open up and they do have some sort of detail inside, it just feels like there could have been a lot more done with this, especially at the $70 price point. But with that, we can move on to the only standard LEGO Disney Princess set. Set number 43208 is Jasmine and Mulan's Adventure, retailing for $40 US, and yeah, I'm probably gonna pick this one up. I really like the mold for the tiger there. The build as well features some architecture that we don't really ever see in LEGO, or we very rarely see it. Kind of fits in the LEGO Adventurers Orient Expedition line, to be honest, and I do love the way the magic carpet is made as well. And in general, for $40, I think this is an alright value. 176 pieces for $40 is not a good price for piece ratio. I think 30 would have been very good. I think 25 would have also been fair, but 40, at least it's better than the egregiously priced $70 set we just looked at. But with that, we have summed up our look at all of the LEGO Disney sets, and with that, we can move on to our second to the last LEGO theme. We're almost done, folks, so let's buckle up and jump into things, because there is a lot for this theme. LEGO City for this year is introducing a few brand new gimmicks, a lot of brand new molds, and some very interesting new sets. First of all, though, we have something very standard. 60312 is the police car for $10. I don't have too much else to say about it other than it's interesting that they decided to print the police tag instead of having it be a sticker. Set number 60314 is the Ice Cream Truck Police Chase. I definitely will be picking this up because I absolutely love the brand new dual molded element they introduced for the crooks to wear ice cream costumes. I also really like the ice cream van itself. It's just simply a realistic ice cream van which works in generally any LEGO City layout. They also have brand new pieces in the ice cream launcher molds, and this is not the last you're going to be seeing of those pieces in LEGO City. Moving onwards, we have set number 60315, Police Mobile Command Truck for $50 US, and this one is pretty much more the same that we've gotten before, and we can probably move on from there. Notice, however, that the Splat mold, which is new for 2022, has been recolored for an egg piece, which I think honestly works really well, and could work for, say, a breakfast meal for a LEGO minifigure. Moving onwards, we have set number 60316, the Police Station, retailing for $70 US, and I kind of like this one. For whatever reason, this police station kind of appeals to me much more than standard police stations have in the past. I may actually pick this one up because, again, I am trying to collect every single set from the new LEGO road plate system, and this includes those new road plates, so I do have to get it because eventually I do want to do a full layout with every single LEGO City road plate set. It also includes a pretty nice garbage truck as well for the villains or crooks, which I think is just a realistic looking garbage truck in general, which is nice to get. Moving onwards, we have set number 60317, Police Chase at the Bank, retailing for $100 US. Probably a little high for what you get, but hey, that's LEGO City, and it is on the road plate system, which means I will have to get it, unfortunately. Moving onwards from police, we have the fire sub-theme, and this is where the brand new color really comes into play. Set number 60318 is Fire Helicopter, retailing for $10 US. You can see it very prominently features the highlighter yellow color, which is not the prettiest of colors to me personally, but definitely is fairly realistic for realistic styled LEGO emergency craft. In the real world, you definitely will see that kind of bright yellow color being used very frequently on emergency vehicles, so I can kind of understand it for these applications. Moving onwards, we have a crossover set number 60319, Fire Rescue and Police Chase for $40. The car itself, again, is using that prominent highlighter yellow color, but this one is kind of just a standard build in general. It does, however, recolor, again, the brand new splat piece in transparent blue for water, and man, they're really getting a lot of mileage out of this piece. Moving onwards from this very overpriced $40 set, we can take a look at set number 60320, the Fire Station for $70. I actually also kind of like this one, even more so than the City Police Station. I think I just really like the very large and tall way the garage doors open. It just feels very unique to me, it has very unique architecture, and I'm a big fan of the way the set is built overall. And again, it is on the road plate system, so I will be picking this one up. Moving onwards from that, we have set number 60321. This is the Fire Brigade. This one is another one that uses the road plate system, which they're really pushing for this particular sub-theme of LEGO City. It includes a sardine factory on fire, as well as the reappearance of the standard keyed orange or flame yellowish orange hazmat suit, which is very, very nice to get, and I definitely will be getting duplicates of if it crops up on Bricks and Pieces. It also does introduce a brand new mold for LEGO City in 2022. It's very, very easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for, but it includes a very adorable little kitten mold to be rescued by the firefighters. I absolutely love the kitten mold, and I definitely want to get tons and tons of this particular animal. But moving on from the fire lineup, we have a few kind of standard, just generic LEGO City sets. First off, we have set number 60322, the race car for $10. It is a 4+ set, and I do not have anything much to say about this build. Moving on, we have a 5+ set number 60323, the stunt plane for $10, which honestly kind of reminds me of some of the classic LEGO stunt planes they did in the past for LEGO Town, so this one is just kind of a charming build, although I may or may not pick this one up myself. We also have set number 60324, the mobile crane. $40 is very, very high for this build. I would probably recommend waiting for this one to go on sale if you want it, because it does interface technically with the road plate system, but really is just a vehicle to carry around the plates. Moving onwards, we have set number 60325, the cement mixer truck for $20. It is a 4+ set, which is very, very simplistic, and it is one of the most simplistic 4+ sets I've seen. And then moving on from that, we have set number 60326, Picnic in the Park, and I kid you not, this is probably one of my favorite LEGO City sets releasing on January 1st. For only $15, this introduces a brand new mold of the adorable LEGO squirrel element, in 2 different colors to boot. And I am a big, big fan of how affordable this is, and honestly, this is kind of just a squirrel battle pack. The minifigures, despite the kid actually featuring a brand new mold for hair, which is really cool, I honestly could do without. But the squirrels, hoo boy, those are the stars of the set. The squirrels and their acorns are absolutely adorable, and I cannot wait to get my hands on them. Moving onwards, we have set number 60327, Horse Transporter for $30 featuring a brand new recolor for the LEGO horse in the dark orange color, and this one is one I'm going to have to get for that LEGO horse. We have gotten horse transporters in the past, but this one is really nice because it does include a brand new coloration for the horse itself. Next up is set number 60328, the Beach Lifeguard Station, featuring a green ice cream outfit this time, which is very nice. And I actually do like how this does technically interface with the road plates as well, but also kind of tries to do its own thing with the beach setting. This is a very charming build. The gray road plate does feel a little out of place. I honestly feel like they should have just recolored it in tan, but I do understand the need to actually want this to fit in with the rest of the road plate sets. Oh, and this set is very notable because it reintroduces the Lego Turtle mold, which was first seen in the Lego Collectible Minifigure series, in a brand new color. So very, very nice to get that, and that's one of the biggest draws of the set. I really like how Lego City is introducing just different new animal molds in general, which is just a really nice thing to see. And then moving onwards, we have set number 60329 School Day retailing for $70 US. And yeah, to be honest, this one is a little disappointing. When rumors first circulated that Lego City was doing a school, a lot of people like myself got very, very excited because Lego City hasn't really ever done something like it before. But this is less school than it is road, and that is one of the big problems with the road plate sets. To be honest, the focus is on the road, and a lot of the budget of the set goes into the road itself, making the buildings feel very, very lackluster. The classroom literally has only 2 seats, there's only one very small and cramped room, and the students have to perform and practice gym in the main lobby because there just isn't room to do anything anywhere else. For $70 US, I honestly would have preferred something a lot bigger, and for the focus to actually be on a school versus rather just on the road. But it is what it is, and I definitely will be picking it up for the novelty of having a Lego school for City, as well as, of course, the road plates themselves. But moving onwards from the somewhat disappointing school, we have set number 60330, the hospital, for $120 US, and this is actually pretty good. Sure, 120 is definitely way too expensive for what you're getting, considering the build, but I actually think this is actually a pretty decent build and one of the best ones they've done for the road plate system. You actually get usable minifigure space on the inside, it comes with both a truck and a helicopter, and I actually really like the architecture of this building being very different from what we're used to for Lego City. It also has some references to Lego City stunts, with one of the stunt performers making a reappearance, injured this time because of apparently an accident he got into on his bike, and there's just all sorts of fun minifigures scattered throughout the set, which all makes it for a fantastic build. I also really like the kids area of the hospital, which is definitely something Lego hospitals have been lacking in the past. It's a very realistic feature, and the color scheme of having the azure stripe alongside the red and white definitely works out very well for this building's favor. But with that, we can move on to some of the really interesting city stuff, because for 2022, Lego City is launching a brand new sub-theme, Lego City Space, and while most of the City Space stuff is actually coming out in March of 2022, there are 2 sets that are coming out on January 1st. First off here, we have set number 60350, the Lunar Research Base, for $120 US. And I am absolutely in love with this set. It truly just feels like a classic Lego space base, just sort of reimagined in a very slightly more realistic form. But honestly, this could fit in right at home with stuff like Space Police 3, just swap out the color scheme, and work for really any classic Lego space sub-theme. And especially since in this era we're really starved for Lego classic space and original space stuff, this really does scratch that itch. And this is a day one purchase for me. I love the brand new element making up the transparent dome, which is a really cool way to actually make the set truly stand out compared to other Lego space bases. The Lego Technic substructure on the front of the base to represent the awning of the hangar door looks really good, and I also love the brand new astronauts featuring dual molded arms for every single astronaut, which really makes this feel like something actually very special. The airlocks seem to actually connect to some of the newer sets coming out later in March of 2022, which you can see on the back of the box, so it's very, very exciting. This is probably one of my favorite Lego City sets ever, again because I'm partial very much to Lego Space, but for $120, I think it's probably pretty fair. It has a rocket, a little lander, a full-on base, and sure, it probably should have just been $80 to $100, but it's a space base, I will absolutely be getting it. And just look at that amazing new dual molded rock element featuring transparent glowing elements for a meteorite. That just looks really, really cool to me. And that's not all for Lego Space. We are also getting an $150 set number 60351 Rocket Launch Center. This is probably one of the ones that does feel a little bit more overpriced to me personally. $150 for this set does feel quite high. I think $120 does suit the set a lot better, but for 1,000 pieces, it definitely does feel like it is somewhat worth it, and it is nice to get a standard realistic Lego rocket. However, we did just get a lot of realistic styled rockets for Lego City in their 2019 Lego Space theme, and while the previous set, which was a space base, is like nothing we've ever seen from City, this just kind of feels a little bit like more of the same. So while I am definitely going to pick this up as well as all of the other LEGO City space stuff, it definitely isn't high on my list of priorities because it is very expensive for something we have frankly seen before. Moving on though, we can now take a look at the final LEGO sub-theme for 2022, and that is LEGO Super Mario. For Super Mario, we're getting some standard sets as well as some sets based off of the Luigi's Mansion or the Haunted expansion, but first of all we have set number 71396, Bowser Jr.'s Clown Car, retailing for $10 US, and this is actually a pretty charming build. It's nice to get a Super Mario set for $10 that isn't one of the outfits, which is very overpriced, so I'm happy to see this particular build, and it does seem like it interfaces very well with the Mario figures. Moving onwards, we have set number 71397. This is Luigi's Mansion Lab and Poltergust, retailing for $30 US. It introduces a brand new mold with a button that you can actually press on the overalls to activate the ghost vacuum piece, which I think is a pretty cool feature to have for play, as well as two different fun figures introducing a lot of brand new molds. The set itself is very, very basic, just kind of a standard build for the LEGO Super Mario game system, but it is just a nice one to have, especially for that brand new mold. Moving onwards, we have set number 71398. This is Dory's Beachfront for $30. It features a brand new environment of the beach for LEGO Super Mario this year, which does appear to be like what many of these sets are actually focused on, as well as just some random fun play features to boot. Moving on from this build, however, we have our next set. This is set number 71399, Luigi's Mansion Entryway for $40 US. This is actually a pretty decent sized build for $40, featuring a very cute ghost dog as well as one of the enemies, plus a large facade for the doors to actually be opened by the Luigi figure itself in play. Beyond that, we have set number 71400, the Big Urchin Beach Ride, retailing for $60 US, which looks to be a very fun play feature to have actually the roller coaster tracks interact with the figure. And for $60, this is actually a pretty sizable build. I'm very happy with what we're getting for the price, and it really does look like a very expansive play feature. And moving onwards, our last final standard retail Super Mario set is 71401, Luigi's Mansion Haunt and Seek for $80 US, which is a very unique LEGO Super Mario set, unlike really any of these Super Mario sets we've seen in the past, which definitely will prove to be a very fun play experience. And I'm very excited to get this on my hands and actually try out the set course itself. But that's not all, folks, for Super Mario, because there is just one final series. We are getting set number 71402, the Character Pack Series 4, which retails for $5 US. In past and previous videos, I've expressed how I actually really like these builds. For $5, they actually offer very good value because not only do you get a completely new buildable character featuring brand new recolors and prints, but you also get a little miniature build for terrain that you can actually place the figures on, and this series is one of the best because every single one of the characters featured in this series is completely unique to the series and isn't something that you can actually see a variation of in the sets, at least for now. I'm a big fan of how all of these turned out. Again, I'm not really too familiar with the Super Mario lore or characters, so I would not be able to tell you who any of these characters are, but I just really like collecting them and building all these little fun characters. Wait, because there is one more LEGO theme to cover, and that is LEGO Ideas. This has been the most recent reveal for January 1st, 2022. LEGO was cutting it very close because this set was just revealed on December 28th, which was just this past Tuesday, but this is another new idea set coming on January 1st, 2022. This is the 39th LEGO Idea set, set number 21331, Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone. It is an 18+ LEGO build and costs approximately $70 US. Now this is a really interesting build because it actually is reflecting an in-game map featuring kind of the 2D style of animation, but still having a 3D-like LEGO build being brought into reality. It's reusing the excellent Sonic dual-molded headpiece introduced for LEGO Dimensions, which makes total sense, and elected to brick build the rest of the characters to varying success. I think the Eggman figure there really could have been improved, although the rest of the characters are not too bad, and overall this is just a really nicely built LEGO set that I honestly feel is what LEGO should have done for stuff like LEGO Super Mario, having some sort of build where minifigures can interact with that still is tied to the original games, and an actual landscape to play in. For $70 US, the price is not too bad. It's not one of the greatest ideas sets ever, but it is a really nice one that I'm sure will prove to be very, very popular, especially to coincide with the release of the new movie. One thing that is particularly interesting about this is that if you look very closely on the side of the build, it is somewhat modular, meaning that maybe LEGO is actually planning to make more level expansions in the future should this prove successful. The official set description states that quote-unquote, it is a modular build that can connect to other architecture sets. However, there are no architecture sets that actually use this connection. I do not know what LEGO is referring to there, but maybe this is just a hint towards something new, and they're going to be potentially making more stuff like this in the future. But with that, we have now summed up all of the 2022 January 1st LEGO sets releasing very shortly. Let me know down in the comments below, because this was a very long list. Which are your favorites, which do you like, which do you dislike, and which ones will you be picking up on day one? And with that, it's time for me to share my favorites. While I probably will be picking up most, if not all, of the ones that I want on day one, I do want to highlight a few very special sets that I think definitely deserve a little bit more attention for this video. First off, starting in the order that we looked at, the new Boutique Hotel is a really cool build in my opinion that feels very, very different from other creator builds you've seen in the past. Definitely would recommend that. As well as the Creator Tiger is another standout from this year's creator wave. As for Ninjago, while the Evo line won't appeal to everyone, I think the Lloyd's Legendary Dragon is truly one of the better Ninjago dragons we've gotten in a while, and the Monastery itself is a very nice build and definitely something you'd want to pick up, especially for that pixel figure. For the new Collectible Minifigure series, my favorites include the Snowy Warrior, as well as, of course, I do want to get the Troubadour as well for the classic LEGO medieval fantasy stuff, and the Welding Robot is a fun design as well. Moving onwards, for LEGO Minecraft, I again mentioned I'm a big fan of the $20 Fox Lodge, which I think is just a very cute build. Everything else is a little hit or miss for me, but that one is really good, and I definitely will be picking up the Ahsoka Tano Brickheadz, featuring a very iconic character and quite a nice build to boot. For LEGO Technic, I am a big fan of this very highly detailed motorcycle, the 1000RR bike. I cannot wait to build it. It is one of the best, if not the best, Technic motorbikes they've ever done. And for LEGO Friends, I honestly am in love with basically a lot of the larger sets. The houseboat, the treehouse, and the Main Street building are all sets that I definitely will be picking up immediately. As for LEGO Marvel, I certainly am very interested in picking up set number 76206, the Iron Man figure. It's not one of the better builds, but it definitely is something that's very interesting to review, and as a Construction and Bionicle fan, this is definitely top on my list. Moving onwards, there isn't really anything from LEGO Dots that personally stands out to me, at least for this wave. There have been in some previous waves, but the charms are at least not necessarily as interesting as some of the other new molds we've gotten in the past. And then moving on from Monkie Kid, I mean, what's not to like from Monkie Kid? I love the Changi Mooncake Factory, a very unique space-based build. I talked about how much I love the Nez's Fire Ring, the Galactic Explorer is amazing, and of course the City of Lanterns is the highlight of the wave. Both Chinese New Year sets are also amazing, although if you had to pick one, I would say the Ice Festival is clearly the more interesting and better build out of the two, and I definitely will at least be picking up one of the LEGO Disney Princess dress piece sets, probably the Elsa's Castle Courtyard, just to try out the brand new gimmick. Moving onwards to LEGO City, I mentioned I really like the Firehouse from City. The $15 Picnic in the Park is a great squirrel battle pack, but obviously the highlight for City, besides the hospital, which is pretty nice, is the space base. Love the Lunar Research Base. Cannot wait to build that one myself. And for Super Mario, definitely the character packs are the highlight, but I think some of the smaller sets are fun too, especially the Clown Car, which is a very fun and charming $10 set. But with that, we have summed up my recommendations and favorite sets for January 1st, 2022, and we're just about ready to wrap up this very long video.
Alright, and with that, we have summed up every single brand new LEGO set releasing January 1st, 2022. Let me know down in the comments below which sets are you getting. I already have my orders placed for pretty much all of these, at least all the ones I was interested in. I cannot wait to build them, although it will be a bit of a while because I'm actually still traveling at the moment, so they probably won't be able to be built until I return to the US in a couple of weeks. But beyond that, let me know in the comments below, what sets do you want to build yourselves, which ones are you most excited for, and which ones have you already managed to get. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duckbricks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Bye bye for now.